Hi, Perry Power here, and welcome to the letter C in the A to Z series on how to sell your property for a premium price quickly. Now today we're going to cover contracts, and I'm going to talk you through the three most common contracts that estate agents will ask you to sign and how to avoid the common pitfalls. So let's go. Okay, so the first one is a sole agency contract. What this means is you can only market your property with that estate agent for the agreed period of time. Now, I'm really not a fan of this because they tie you in generally for 12 to 26 weeks. So what that means is if that agent isn't doing a very good job, or they're not looking after you well, or they're not communicating well, you're stuck with them for up to 26 weeks. I call them the license to be lazy. I covered this in the letter A video, but a bit more information on sole agency contracts is you want to make sure that my belief is that you want to choose an agent who's confident in their ability, not somebody who can be really good at sales and sell you into signing for 26 weeks. Because if after that period, although you've got the cooling off period, that's the first couple of weeks, but then you're stuck for 24 weeks potentially with an agent that you're really not happy with. So my first piece of advice regarding sole agency contracts is don't sign one for a period of time. By all means, choose one estate agent and say to them, I'll give you maybe a 2-week rolling agreement. So if you're unhappy, you can change agent. You're not bound to that contract. One of the biggest issues is that it's not a service level agreement. It is literally a sole agent contract, which means you cannot sell your house. You could market your house with other agents during that time, but then they're going to charge you their multi-fee, which will probably be 3 times the fee that it would be if it was sole agency. And we're going to come on to multi-agency contracts in a moment. Just remember, read the small print. There's a lot of small print. Sometimes they're 26-week contracts with 4 weeks notice, which is going to make that 30 weeks. If you want it to end on the 26th week, you have to serve notice 4 weeks prior. There's loads of small print, so just make sure you read it properly, know what you're signing. If you're unhappy with anything, it's negotiable. Speak to the agent, say, look, I really like you, I'm impressed with your marketing ability, but I'm not prepared to sign for 12, 20, whatever, how many weeks it might be. So then contract number 2 is what we call a multi-agency agreement. So that's where you have 2 or more, so multiple estate agents marketing your property. Now, the misconception is the more agents you've got, the better outcome it's going to be. But what can happen here is, one, you generally pay a lot more in fee if you end up going with multi-agents. But more importantly is some people think that competition is good, and sometimes it is. But what multi-agency can do is it can breed the wrong type of competition, and it's more of a race to see who can get any old buyer secured for your property rather than the best buyer for your situation. You sometimes find that the fall-through rate of multi-agency agreements is higher because they're just really rushing to get any buyer agreed to beat the other agent rather than getting the best outcome for you as a client. It's my belief that you need one good agent with a really good plan rather than multiple agents with no plan at all. It only takes one conductor to lead an orchestra, and if you choose the right agent in the first place, you won't need multi-agency. If you felt like you choose the right agent but it didn't go to plan, rather than then flooding your house to the market, because that can be a big issue. If your house is overexposed to the market and it's on with 3, 4, 5 estate agents, that's going to really affect the level of offers you receive, because buyers are going to think you're desperate, so they're going to because you're flooding your house all through the market, so they're likely to put in lower offers, and you don't want that. When you receive an offer on your property, you want to retain the position of strength, and you can't particularly say to someone, I'm in no rush, when you clearly are, because you're flooding it through 2, 3, 4, 5 estate agents, all fighting to get a buyer, and in the end it becomes more of a beat the other agents rather than get the best outcome for the client. So there's a quick overview of multi-agency agreements. On to the next. So number 3 is the sole selling rights contract, or the sole selling rights agreement. Slightly different to the sole agency. So what sole agency means is that one agency or agent that you're choosing is the sole agent for the period of the contract. Sole selling rights is when that company have the sole rights to sell your property for you the whole time they're instructed. For example, it's a bit of a grey area, but with a sole agency contract, your next door neighbour, you might go on the market and your friend might say, oh, I'm keen to buy your house. And so you sell it to them. Now, going by the contractual obligations, the agent would not be due a fee because you sold it yourself. They didn't handle the inquiry, the viewing, the negotiation, the sales progression. But arguably, it may have been the board outside your house which made your neighbour aware that you're selling, and you would want to probably speak to the agent and divert the buyer to your agent to deal with them over the purchase and keep some distance. The point of having an agent is to have somebody acting in your best interest, acting on your behalf. You will pay them a fee for doing a good job. But 20 years now I've been an estate agent, and the amount of times that I've had clients come to me and say, Perry, I sold my house privately but it's all gone wrong. Can you help? Can you pick up the pieces? I've got the buyer. Can you deal with the solicitors? All that kind of thing. So then the sole selling rights means that your agent will get paid no matter how or who introduces the buyer to your house. And that's the one that I personally prefer, because when you're interviewing agents, and I've got back from a client meeting, a potential new client, and I explained to them, I said, look, choose your agent, who you want to act for you, who you trust, who you feel like you could have a good relationship with, because they're going to be acting for you for the next 6 to 9 months. You'll be working very closely with them. So I said, choose your agent, then let's discuss fee, marketing strategy, marketing price, all that kind of thing. But that's a discussion once you've chosen someone to say Perry or not. I said it may not be me. I hope it is, because I'd love to represent you guys. But even if it's somebody else, choose them first and then say, what fee can we agree on? Can we do a performance fee? What marketing price? Where should we put it? Place the property into the market? Where should we market it? Should we do video, social, all this kind of thing? So the estate agent contracts are usually really, really wordy, loads of small print, but just break it down, simplify it, understand that you're employing them. You're not choosing them or selecting them. You're actually employing them to be your agent for the period of time that you need them. So whilst the house is marketed, solicitors are involved. So it's such a big decision, because choosing the wrong agent can make or break your sale. And a big part of choosing the right agent is making sure that their contractual terms are fair and it doesn't tie you in knots, and you're not bound to them for the next 4 or 5 months of marketing time, even if they produce good marketing, good viewings, poor service. You need to make sure that you've got the freedom and flexibility to come away from that company if after 5, 6, 7 weeks you feel that it was the wrong decision. And that's the issue, is with choosing an estate agent, you don't really know until you're into the relationship and you're tied into that long-term contract. It regularly happens where people ring us and say, look, I'm 4 weeks into a 20-week contract, but I'm really unhappy, what can I do? And I say, well, not really a great deal. You can take your house off the market, but you can't remarket it with another agent until that time has elapsed. So yeah, contracts, read them properly. Don't sign a long-term one, couple of weeks rolling. Any good agent, in my opinion, who's giving you the right advice, who's confident in their ability to give you good service, won't need or want you to sign for a long time. So there we go. That was the letter C in the A to Z series on how to sell your property for a premium price quickly. If you need any advice at all, drop a comment below the video, and my team and I would love to help, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.